So Dravidian movement is nothing but a socio-cultural political movement using these languages and share the same cultural and social context. Right.
So as per Dravidian philosophy or Dravidian movement, North Indians are seen as Aryans.
Yeah, so not just the North Indians, but also the Brahmins and the pillars of the Dravidian movement were self-respect, nationalism, and anti-Brahminical stance. Case pride over the religion, pride over your caste, everything becomes normal. So there were mainly two major migrations towards India. Tamil is the mostly spoken present day Dravidian language. Apart from that, you have Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu. A lot of children in India still struggle to cope up with the two language forms.
How does that socio-political cultural aspect of Tamil Nadu is different from the rest of India?
Tamil Nadu is also known for its honor killing. One of the main aims of the Dravidian movement was to come out of the Brahminical dominance. For example, marriage wouldn't be considered sacred if it's not being done by a Brahmin. In the present day stage, if you look at it, casteism is still in practice.
Joining me today is Mukilan Selvakumar, a development professional from Trichy, Tamil Nadu. Currently, he is working as an APR consultant at Karo Sambhav. Mukilan holds a master's in development studies from Azim Premji University. He has worked in various capacities with the Directorate of Social Welfare, Government of Assam to Voice for Girls, Gunj, and the Center for Indian Knowledge Systems. At TIS, he also served as the sports secretary in the Students' Council and later became an active member of the Peria Reading Circle at APU. Today we delve into Tamil culture, language politics, the Dravidian movement and the evolving landscape of Tamil Nadu's social and...
So Mr. Mukilan, what is a Dravidian movement?
So Dravidian movement is nothing but a socio-cultural political movement, and the pillars of the Dravidian movement were self-respect, nationalism, and anti-Brahminical stance, where the people were the marginalized communities, the oppressed communities, which were historically been there for a long number of years, working for the upliftment for those communities. Those were the main ideals of the Dravidian movement.
Yeah. So was it limited to Tamil Nadu only, or like it was beyond Tamil Nadu, like in all other southern states?
Right. So maybe looking at Dravidianism as an anthropological term. So the term Dravidian emerges from the group of communities or the group of people who share the cultural traits and the linguistics, which are commonly known as the Dravidian languages. So there are a lot of Dravidian languages, almost 26, I believe so, and these
26 Dravidian languages.
Yes, Dravidian languages, and it's not just limited to the south of India. So there were also traces of people speaking Dravidian languages in Gujarat. There is a language called Brahui, and so understanding from that context, the Dravidianism or the Dravidian languages, so the people who communicate using these languages and share the same cultural and social context. So that's what basically comprises of the term Dravidian.
Where did this term called Dravid come from?
It first came up with a literature in the near 14th to 15th century. In one of the literature texts, the term Dravidam was used as an alternate or to represent the land of the Tamils. So that's where it emerged from, the Dravidian. And later this was again coined by a sociologist called Caldwell. So he was the first one to use it in this context, the modern context that we use it. So, yeah.
So as per Dravidian philosophy or Dravidian movement, North Indians are seen as Aryans.
Yeah, so not just the North Indians, but also the Brahmins or people who weren't speaking the Dravidian languages predominantly. So they were also seen outside of the Dravidian land. So yeah, that's the cultural context.
But there is also one more misconception or conception, if I can say, that Dravidians were the original inhabitants of this land called India. But later on, they were pushed downwards by the North Indians or Aryans from after invasions and other things.
Yeah, again, looking at anthropology again, so there were mainly two major migrations towards India. And initially, there is this specific genome or genetic type of people called ancient South Indian genome. So it's called RC, AASI, and this genome type. So the people who migrated first towards India, they carried this genome sequence, and later there was again
And
a
where did they
major.
migrate from?
It was from, so the present term that we use, like let's say the Middle East, or yeah, towards the west from the Indian continent, subcontinent. Yeah, so that was the first migration that happened, and later the second major migration that happened were by the Indo-Aryans. So they came back to India, and both these civilizations, both these group of people, they had a relationship among themselves, and there were a lot of other communities that got branched outwards from there. Some people migrated towards the east, some people towards the northwest and northeast. So yeah, it started like that. So again, this is the major theories that we have in the present day.
So let us get back to the values that you talked about the Dravidian movement,
Right.
social justice, rationality, and anti-caste stand, and Brahminical dominance. I think these were the 4 pillars of the Dravidian movement that you mentioned.
And also, most importantly, the linguistic stand that they taken. Like when I mentioned socio-cultural, political, Tamil culture or the Dravidian culture was at the stronghold there, because there was a strong push from the North Indians, or the here we term them as Aryans. The predominance of Aryans in terms of culture, in terms of language, was seen in a much larger scale, and to defend themselves from.
I would like to know more about that dominance aspect.
Right, so-
dominance in terms of language, dominance in terms of other ways. Can you give us some examples?
So let's say how practice, either be it a religious practice or a social practice, which flows through people. And here is where, so when you talk about Dravidian culture, there was a different culture altogether. And with the advent of the Brahminical rituals.
So when you use the word Dravidian culture, you talk about all southern states, not only Tamil Nadu.
Yeah, so again, the Dravidian languages, Tamil is the mostly spoken present day's Dravidian language. Apart from that, you have Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, and Konkan, and as I mentioned earlier, Brahui. So these are all different other languages. So mostly it encompasses the South Indian region.
Earlier you were mentioning about the dominance aspect.
Yeah.
That when we use the term called that North Indians are dominating our socio-political and cultural aspect. So I'm just trying to ask, in what aspect? Like, can you give us some examples? For example, language is one of the issues. That Hindi imposition that has always faced some sort of resistance from the south, and Tamil Nadu in particular. So apart from language, what are the other issues that you consider as dominance of North India?
So here, looking at the political struggle that we had in India, the one nation, one language, all this didn't start from here, like what we have in the present day. It all emerged since independence, or even before that. When we were able to attain independence from the British, we needed to have our own language. We needed to, appropriate ourselves, or in terms of having our own documents, or in terms of having our own literature. So that's where Hindi was used predominantly all over India, and yeah, Tamil Nadu was nowhere getting away from it. So when Rajaji or Rajagopalachari became the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, there was a heavy push towards bringing the 3 language policy in Tamil Nadu, and there were huge protests all over Tamil Nadu, like students, college students, school students, working professionals. They went on to the streets to protest against that. I mean, it comes from the simple basic logic. I had been talking a particular language, or I've been communicating in a particular language for all my life. And just for the cause for the nation state, or just for the union of India, why should I be pushed, or why should I be imposed on a new language? Okay, now I'm like, all your children are going to learn this new language now. So that's not going to be easy, either for the child or even for a grown man like me. Learning a language is not that easy, right?
So you are saying that we South Indians are not against Hindi, but they are against this idea of language imposition.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's
So,
what.
but in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with learning other languages.
No, not.
But at the same time, I would say that okay, language pride is always there. As I come from a Hindi-speaking land, and Hindi is my mother tongue, so it would always be close to me.
I would disagree to that.
Yeah,
language pride is not something I would actually be supporting for. Or again, language pride, I don't know, like having a pride over a language, like asserting your cultural identity is different, and having pride over a language, or in that case, pride over the religion, pride over your caste, everything becomes problematic at some point.
I was coming to the point that if you feel good about your language, that I feel most comfortable in Tamil, Telugu, or Malayalam, and I think you should have all the right to express yourself in that language, in your mother tongue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that element of feasibility, that practicality should also be there.
Right.
For example, I'm not saying Hindi is better than Tamil or Tamil is better than Hindi. Each language has its own importance.
Right.
But as far as Hindi is concerned, you would also agree with the fact that Hindi is the most spoken language in our country. In terms of numbers.
Okay.
And widely understood by the great number of Indians.
Okay.
Even if, for example, if you go to Maharashtra, if you go to even some portion of Karnataka, some portion of Telangana, Gujarat, Punjab, people, their native language is not Hindi, but at least they understand. Even if they are not able to speak, they understand Hindi.
Okay.
I'm just asking you out of curiosity that learning Hindi would open some new possibilities, some opportunities. They can get more employment opportunities. And here I'm not talking about language imposition.
Okay.
Here I'm only talking about the practicality aspect.
Okay. Let's take your case, like whatever you have said, let it be true. And let's say if learning Hindi is going to give me more opportunities. A person who is put in a school, a child, and if the child is going to learn Hindi throughout his life, like since from grade 6 or 10, and do you think this child would be able to speak the language or communicate in the language? Because what do you learn textually, or what do you learn in your textbooks is completely different from how do you use the language.
Yeah.
Because even I was pushed to learn Hindi in my school days, but that nowhere didn't help me in speaking that language. I learned it because I was able to go to a different place, and because of my social interaction there, and because of my people around me, I was able to speak that language. It is not very necessary for me to learn that language since childhood, put in a classroom setting. So I don't believe in that idea.
So what should be the right way according to you? For example, if Indian government wants to like expand the usage of Hindi in southern states, so what should be the right way according to you? Like it should be voluntary.
First, I'm not agreeing with you that the state should be trying to expand its reach over the religion to the South India. I mean, there is a common language already, and we are able to communicate with each other effectively. And our official language has been English for a long time. So we are already, we are not so in disassociation with the Union of India, right? Like we are also in India.
But for example, let me take your example. You are currently in Delhi.
Right.
So, and you are also able to communicate with Delhi people in Hindi because you managed to speak Hindi. So don't you think, because I'm just trying to understand more about this topic and why there is so much resistance to this, that if there are a lot of people from South who can understand Hindi, who can speak in Hindi, then there would be a much better connect. For example, I have seen a lot of people who are from South, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Telangana. they can speak good Hindi, and that is why they have a better reach in North Indian politics in terms of political landscape, in terms of social landscape, and they have wider reach. They can reach to a wider group of people.
Okay.
So I'm here. Let me make this very clear that I'm not saying Hindi is better or Hindi should be learned or Hindi should be imposed on South Indians. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are a lot of South Indians. Hindi helps them in reaching to a wider section of society. For example, if a politician who is from South, if that politician can speak in Hindi, he can reach out to a wider audience. He can address this country in Hindi.
I mean, see, now technology has grown so far that when you are speaking, I put on our earphones and I can have the live transcription of what you're saying if you're going to speak in Hindi. So, what is the reason that just for this reach or just to bring us together, the idea doesn't seem fair to me.
So let me conclude this point that you are saying that okay, there should not be any kind of imposition in terms of language.
Right.
So it should be left on the personal choice of an individual whether he or she wants to learn or not.
Yeah.
There should be only two languages: mother tongue, that is Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, and second language would be English. So this is what you are saying.
Yeah. So probably adding on to that, I have a lot of friends from education, like who did masters in education from Azim Premji University, and so they have a pedagogical understanding, and if a child will be able to learn in will it be a 3-language formula, will it be more convenient for them, and will they be able to adapt and learn more in that way, or will it be a 2-language formula? And a lot of children in India still struggle to cope up with the 2-language formula that we have, to learn science, math, social sciences, English. Like, it is already a huge burden for them. And if you are going to bring in a new language there, and the child wouldn't definitely be able to cope up with all the learnings altogether. And how they expand pedagogically, like if I'm going to read more literature in my own mother tongue, that is going to be helpful for me. And if I'm going to train myself well in how I'm learning a particular language and focusing more on that particular language, that is going to be more helpful rather than learning a new language altogether.
So, Mukilan, what was the impact of this Dravidian movement or self-respect movement on the socio-political and cultural life of Tamil Nadu? How does that socio-political cultural aspect of Tamil Nadu is different from the rest of India?
So one of the main aims of the Dravidian movement was to come out of the Brahminical dominance, and yeah, I think it was pretty successful in that way. Where if you see the earlier Tamil Nadu, most of the government jobs and the leadership positions was held by the Brahmins, and it was the numbers were very less. But again, there was no representation from the other caste groups. Brahmins held the major positions in all the government jobs, in the leadership, and they had immense socio-political power in the society. And these were translated in the form of the practices that they had. For example, marriage wouldn't be considered sacred if it's not being done by a Brahmin priest. And like the concept of purity itself. There are practices where Dalits are not allowed to enter the streets just because there are dominant caste groups or the oppressor caste groups living in that particular street. So, I mean, such practices still continue. So, considering all these, we have come a long way where now a lot of other caste groups, OBC caste groups, and ST people have got their representation into jobs, into educational institutions. And even if you take any major educational institution at the point of time, it would predominantly be the Brahmins sitting in the classroom, and even the professors there, even the teachers there. If you're going to be a single non-Brahmin student, there used to be a lot of discrimination of the student, and yeah, such cases had always been there. And slowly, with the self-respect movement and with the formation of the Justice Party, there were slow representation of the other caste groups and the inclusion of the other caste groups in the socio-political power. So in the present day's case, if you look at it, casteism is still in practice, and I'm not denying that. And Tamil Nadu is also known for its honor killings, which still continues even till date, and that might be a reason of how the casteism as a system and casteism as a practice has entrenched and is carried by the dominant caste groups, like the the landlord classes, after the slow descent, the decline of the Brahminical dominance there. So a lot of OBC groups in Tamil Nadu still do practice casteism, and yeah, it still prevails. Yeah.
So Mukila, I think we have talked about a lot of things, and I still have a lot of questions to ask regarding the current political landscape of Tamil Nadu. So I think we have to shoot another episode, understand a bit more about that.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's catch up soon.
Sure. Would love to.